What is it like to get behind the scenes and in the mind of a husband? Oh, Katoya's not here on this one, so we're diving in a special solo episode. And don't stop. Don't leave me, even if you're not a husband. Hopefully there's some value for you. Let's have a good time. Let's get into the episode. What is going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Summoner with the Sumners. It is your boy, Damon Sumner, and this here is a special edition because it's just me. That is right. Katoya, my amazing, beautiful, spontaneous wife, she is not here. The world is sad. But we got to keep moving on. She's out here doing big things in Texas right now as I record. So it's just gonna be me holding it down. So don't click out just yet. Hopefully I got some value for you. Hopefully I got a few good times coming your way. So stay with me, even if it is solo. If it's your first time, this is Summer with the Sumner. It's your boy Damon Sumner, Katoya, and I. We've been doing this podcast for a little over a year now, and our aim is to empower married couples to enjoy marriage one convo at a time. And so we're excited you're here, whether you've been rocking with us since episode 1 or if it's your first time. Thank you for listening. Before we go anywhere, as always, nothing changed. We always say what's most important, and that is, of course, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hitting the button. Thanks for checking us out. Because you're here, wherever you are, we appreciate it. It means a lot to us, So just want to say that before we dive in. And today, we are diving into the mind of a husband. The mind of a husband. And I'm excited because, for a few reasons. I'm excited, number one, because there has been a lot of social media, online chit chat about the life and role of a husband. I've gotten a lot of questions in person and definitely over on Instagram and just social media in general. There's been a lot of good questions come my way about being married. And so I thought, let's pull back the layers a little bit. Let's get behind the curtain. Let's get inside the mind of one husband. I do not represent all husbands, but hopefully, again, wherever you are on your journey in relationships, hopefully it's able to give you a little bit of value. So we're going to dive right on in this thing, the mind of a husband today. I was in a Facebook group. I'm still out here in these streets in Facebook. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still out here in these streets. I know a lot of y'all is now like MySpace to you. A lot of y'all deleted the account, deactivated the account. One, as a comic, it gives a lot of value just for relationships and business. That's one. But two, there's people who I still connect with over there from, when I was 7 all the way to nowadays. So there's still a little bit of value over there. But I'm in a lot of Facebook groups about marriage. And the question was posed, what makes a good husband and what do you think makes a bad husband? Big words, right? What makes a good husband? What makes a bad husband? So a few thoughts, my opinion. Let's start with what makes a bad husband, okay, off top. I think, in my opinion, one thing that makes a bad husband is a man who is out for his and his only, who is thinking about himself, number one. I think that is a downward spiral. I think it's a slippery slope. If he is trying to get his, I'm talking about money, emotionally, sexually, parenting, whatever it is. Like if he's like, yo, it's about me, I think that is not going to end well. I think that goal of trying to take care of yourself is not going to help you as a good husband. Whereas in the opposite side, I think one thing that makes a good husband, and I'm talking about men who are striving to be, right? These are men who are striving to be. Nobody's perfect. I definitely ain't perfect. I don't need Katoya out here to tell you that. I definitely ain't. But I think what makes a good husband is a man who is striving to serve and really create a life and a home for his family, right? Whether that be his wife and if you have kids. I think that is one piece of the puzzle. Like my goal for myself is I'm trying to bust my tail to do what I can to take care of Katoya, to take care of our 3 beautiful kids. And I'm hoping that is leading me in the right direction so that I can look up one day in a rocking chair and be like, yeah, Yo, you did that, bro. Like you did that as a husband, fam. You killed it back in the day. Like that. That would be, that would be just a lot of joy to have that. And I think that's one thing. I think it's this servant mindset. It's this when you talk about leadership, right? You're talking about somebody who is trying to serve, somebody who's trying to do on the behalf of others, and that's what I think about when I'm working late, when people are asleep and I'm still busting my tail at the laptop, when I'm doing this and that and going out of town and this and that, whatever it is. One of my main goals, right, if not my number one goal, is to do things, to try my best to create a life that my family can enjoy. So I think that's one thing that makes a good husband. Something else that makes a bad husband. What else makes a bad husband? That's good and bad. Those are just big words, right? Can we just be honest? Can we just pause and be like that? Like, ooh, you're a bad driver. It's like, ooh, okay, wait a minute. I mean, I don't use my blinker, but settle down, okay? Like, you're a bad cook. It's like, all right, listen, okay, yes, I burn the garlic bread every time. I do make instant potatoes. I get it, but bad is such a big word, right? But if I'm trying to think of one more thing that makes a bad husband, I think I really go, if I'm honest, it went real severe, real serious, but just unsafe. Like literally a man who is unsafe. And I'm talking emotionally, I'm talking verbally, I'm definitely talking physically. That's not even a question. Like that's a red flag. Shut it down. Goodbye. I'm out of here. Turn off the lights. Right? So, I think that is there an area of redemption and restoration and reconciliation? Possibly. But a man who's putting his hands on anybody, right, and verbally and definitely emotionally being abusive, bad husband. I think on the flip side of that, right, when you think about what makes a good husband, I think it is a man who's aiming, who's striving to be not only selfless just in actions, but we're talking about emotionally present, right? We're talking about somebody who is verbally encouraging and inspiring and, uplifting. And then who also creates an environment that's safe, physically, right? Like only time, we touching the wife is if we trying to snuggle up, cuddle up, or get it in. You know what I'm saying? Like that's, otherwise we just, and I don't even really wrestle. Side note, because we're talking about physical. Couture and I, we used to wrestle just a little bit back in the day. And as a husband, this is the mind of a husband. As behind the scenes, if we pull the layers back just a little bit, I don't really, not because I'm like worried or anything, because she can't take me. I tell her, she know that. She know what's up. But it's just like it can get real. Like, it don't matter if it's with your homies, and I don't know what homies are wrestling for fun anymore, or especially with your boo, with your bae, with your significant other. Like, sooner or later, somebody gonna accidentally hit that pinky too hard, or put the knee in the back too strong, or hold the wrist down too tight. And like, all right, okay, now either we going or we arguing. And I don't need that. I don't need that. If it's not going to lead to foreplay and afterplay, no thank you. I'm out. So those are just a few things that come to mind. That was something I saw in the group on Facebook. And I was like, I feel like as we kind of dive into this topic here, thinking about the mind of a husband, that's one thing that I was like, let's see. So let's keep it moving here. So this was something that I had, I was with some comics on the road a couple years ago. And we were being real playful, but I thought it'd be good to do it here. And whether you're a wife, whether you're a husband, whether you're single, listening to this, wherever you are, if you're in a relationship specifically, it was like, yo, rate yourself. Like, really rate yourself, which I think, I don't know about the word rating, but like I think there is something about self-awareness and self-evaluation, right? Both in the dating phase, the single phase, and even in the married phase. Yeah, you put the ring on it. Yeah, you got a couple kids. You got the dog. You got the plans. You got the house. You trying to live. You trying to blow up. Sometimes you got to step back and be like, all right, let me check in. Let me see how I'm doing over here. Let me check my ratings. How many stars I got? We be out here asking for reviews on Yelp and Google reviews and Apple, Spotify reviews, but what you reviewing yourself? Huh? What you doing? So if I was going to rate myself and humbly come before you listeners and viewers, how would I rate myself right now, 22 April, as I'm recording this? I'd probably say I'm gonna give myself an 8. I'm gonna give myself an 8. Now that 8 to the 10, big gap. Okay, let me be very clear. It's a lot of space to get from that 8 to that 10. But I I feel like right now, as a husband, man, I feel like I'm in a pretty decent groove. I know Katoya pretty well, know the kids. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm trying to cater to the family. I feel like I'm trying to create memories. I feel like I'm trying to help cultivate this to be a home that's loving, that's encouraging, that's empowering. You know what I mean? Now, could I be more vocal with my feelings? Absolutely. Okay, for sure, I could. Could I throw out some more compliments? Bet. Surely could. When's the last time I personally have cleaned the shower? No comment. But what matters, it gets cleaned. It gets cleaned. Okay. You know, if you've been rocking with us, who holds the laundry down. Okay. So there's still areas that I could grow in, still areas that I desire to get better at. And I've got some strengths that I want to keep a strength. You know, sometimes you can have things that are real strong and then you can kind of let them fade, you know, physically, whatever the case may be, verbally, you know what I'm saying? Different hobbies, activities. Have I been as consistent with the date nights as I want to be? No. And you know I care deeply about the date nights. You know date nights are a strong anchor for the Sumner. So I'm giving myself, what I say? I said an 8. I'm giving myself an 8, right? But it's a big gap. It's a big gap between that 8 and that 10. A lot of work can be done, and I ain't mad at it. But what are you ranking yourself? What are you ranking yourself? Think about that. I don't know if that would lead to some playful banter around dinner. If you held up some white boys or y'all said on the count of three, you say what you think I am and I think what you are, right? And you give each other the ranking. But if that's gonna cause harm and stress and angst, then don't do it. Don't. You know each other. Don't do that. What's going on? What else is out here? Another thing that I was talking. I talk a lot. I like that Katoya and I will come and we'll talk and we have a lot of interactions with people and we'll bring it to you on the podcast. So when I was kind of making this line up, this agenda, I was like, man, what conversations have I been having about husbandry? I don't know if that's the word. Let's run with it though. What conversations have I been having about being a husband with wives, with other husbands, with just men, whatever, whoever, online? And one, you know, we've had a couple episodes around like roles, right? Expectations. And I think there is something about the idea that you know, there's certain roles, there's most roles, I would say, that are interchangeable, genderless, sexless, don't matter, somebody get it done. And I do wonder if there are any specific roles specifically for the husband, specifically for the fellas, that's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of your lane. Like we ain't got to put it on paper, but like specifically, generally speaking, this is your lane. I think there's a few, right? If you're in a two family home, you know, 2-parent home, 2-adult home. I think one is this idea of the protector. And I'm gonna be honest with you, okay? I'm gonna go on a rant right now. So buckle up, sit back, and just take it, okay? I find the role of the protector 100% understandable and acceptable. Period. Full stop. I also find the role of the protector absolutely hilarious because what's funny to me about it is that, let's say I'm single, and if you don't know, Katoya and I, you know, we married in college. She's my only girlfriend. It's really funny to go from being a kid, a teen, an adult. Maybe you get married in your 30s, maybe you get married in your 40s. Shoot, maybe you get married in your 50s, right? Where you are protecting, you know, maybe you got siblings, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Yourself, though, essentially, at the end of the day. And like, there's not a mindset, there's no training, there's no preparation, there's not a workbook. You're not getting a study guide at home. There's no real podcast that's really talking about the preparation of becoming a protector. But when you say I do, and you head back to the crib, big dog, it's just on you. Like, you are now the protector of the house. You now have to protect this woman over here who, big, small, strong, weak, she could be an MMA fighter, and maybe that has a caveat. Maybe there's a caveat there, okay? But either way, it is interesting, generally speaking, right? Traditionally speaking, that you just go from, hey, you know what I'm saying, what's popping? We out here getting some wings, we chilling, to you must protect this house. Like, that's a stark That's a stark transition. And I'm 100% confident that there are a few roles as well for women, for wives, that feel the same way. When Katoria comes to do an independent episode, she could bring those up. But she ain't here. You understand? So I just find it funny. I find it fascinating. It's a bit I'm trying to work on that, I'm playing around with on stage where I just find it humorous. 100% on board. You need to get the shotgun. You got the baseball bat. You know what I'm saying? You got the floodlights. You got the dog walk out with you. Whatever it is, I get it. But if we could be honest here, I do think it is intriguing how you could go from night to day and it's just you. Maybe as a feminist, I don't know if I ever said that out loud, right? But as a man of equality, maybe there should be a little bit more conversation about the protector. Maybe it's a committee. First off, maybe it's a team effort. What happened to this solo? We do the budget together, right? We think about parenting together. We take care of the dog together. We both water the plants, right? Maybe the protector role should also be a combined effort. Have we thought about that? Have we considered these options here, right? Or is it just like, hey, listen, all jokes aside, based off of our genitalia, this is on you, bud. Rest well, okay? What's that? What's that noise? I'm going to go back to sleep, but I'm expecting you to check that out. I told you I'm a rant for a second. I just find it intriguing about the protector role. I think it's really interesting. I think, I don't know. Maybe we switch it up. Maybe we switch it up to the point where it's like, all right, maybe whoever has the bigger thumbs or whoever has the lower credit score. Maybe those are just a few things. I'm just saying, I'm spitballing here. Okay, maybe those are a few things that we could consider. Maybe who's going to be the protector for the night. Maybe it rotates. Maybe it's like a shift. Clock in, clock out. Oh, you cooking tonight? Then I'll protect. You doing the dishes tonight? Then I'll protect. You understand? Just spit rant over. Okay. I hope you stay with me through that. I'm intrigued on what you think. Here. Damon, I want to let you know what I think. Well, I'm glad you said that here. You can, we're going to keep the conversation going about this, okay? Over on Instagram. Follow us over there, Sum It Up Sumners. That's SUM, Sum It Up Sumners. I'm going to pose that question. I want to know what y'all think about that and why you think the way you think. So that's all I'm going to say about that. A couple of things that when I'm talking about myself, I'm intrigued as well when I talk to other husbands. What roles do they feel they, on paper or off paper, right? Like spoken and known, or they just kind of have, you got it. When you get into a good groove with your boo, right? When you're kind of in a good groove in your relationship and you're just like, these are the things I handle. These are the things they handle, right? I think some things that, we all handle, but I probably kind of lean, right? Just lean to doing more is kind of like thinking through and kind of planning trips. You know what I'm saying? Vacations. That's with the kids. Getaways or without kids. That's important to know the difference. There is a difference. Okay? You can title it whatever you want to title it. But there are trips with kids and there are trips without kids. Getaways, trips, vacations. However you want to title them bad boys, title them bad boys. But we should be taking them every year. With kids, without kids. I digress. So I think that kind of leans towards me. Maybe, if you're listening to your husband, like, that ain't me, fam. That ain't me. No worries. No worries out here in these streets. But that's something that kind of leans towards me. Our Devos, that's something that kind of leans toward me. So like the spiritual, development, spiritual growth is kind of something I kind of lean towards taking on with Joy in that area. The schedule, calendar, right? Katoria and I, we both have a schedule, a calendar that we use. And I am, typically speaking, the one who leads out in planning events like just here in the city, day in, day out, putting things on the calendar, kids events, soccer games, things of that nature. I'll do my personal things, kids stuff, family stuff. Katoria should put her personal things on there. So it's just a big old color coordinated schedule. If you, as a couple, do not have a combined collective calendar, highly recommend. Highly recommend. You want to talk about one of the biggest things we talk about on this podcast is that you can never over communicate. Well, the calendar is a huge way that Katoria and I communicate. Like I can tell she doesn't have to necessarily ask me about what's going on in my week because it's already on the calendar. right? We sit down, we plan out the date nights, we plan out the couple nights when people come over, vice versa. We plan out the nights that we're having game nights with the kids or whatever the case may be. Or you want to have some individual time, or you got some shows, or you're traveling. That is immediate, physical, tangible, visible communication right there just in our relationship. And so that's another thing I kind of dive into, kind of lean in with, and try to be intentional of leading out with that. And this last one here, we do it differently. So I am going to be honest, a little asterisk on here, but I try to find ways to keep fun going in the home and outside the home, right? Katoya does a great job of this as well. So don't be trying to email me, slide in my DMs, text her privately. Don't cause no trouble over here. Don't cause no trouble, okay? All I'm saying is that I intentionally, Damon, as a husband, desire to maintain fun, magic, excitement, buzz, momentum, fire, not just with my wife, but also with the kids as a family as a whole, right? Which ties in kind of to the trips, right? And those vacations as well. So those are just a few things. Those are just a few things that come to mind when I'm thinking about that. What else is going on in these streets? If you're rocking with us over here on YouTube, you know, you were having a good time watching, and you're not, check us out. Subscribe, YouTube. You know what I mean? We plugging throughout the show. That's what we doing out here. What else is going on in the streets? Oh, a couple more things before we get out of here. So one of the things when I think about being a dope husband, right, going to make what makes a good husband, I do think there is this necessity to surround yourself with other dope husbands, right? Maybe you're a dad and you're not a dad. Cool. Maybe y'all both dads. Maybe y'all are both not dads, right? But specifically, surrounding yourself with other men who are in the same role, right? Has been so beneficial for myself. I mean, I've been able to just watch, learn, listen, vent, advise, vice versa, with other husbands, man, for years. I mean, we'll be married for 14 years this July, and it has really been an important part of my development as a man and definitely as a husband. You know, just get a chance to just share ideas, share tips, you know what I mean? Just to talk about being a husband and not in general. You know, we've talked about episodes before, from friendships and also that close inner circle. And I think there's something special as a husband to be able to have other husbands who are trying to be dope husbands, right, around you. And so if you don't have that, would highly encourage you to, you know, for the remainder of this year, try to push yourself. Just step out your comfort zone. Text a few people. Call a few people back. You know what I'm saying? Pull up. Y'all go get some burgers. You know what I'm saying? Go check out some barbecue spots. Hit a game. You know, maybe y'all are gamers. Maybe I want to go play some golf. Whatever it is. Maybe I just want to come over to the crib and sit on the porch and talk. Whatever it is, surround yourself with other men who are trying to be dope husbands. Okay? And if you got some whack husbands around you too, keep them on a short leash, fam. Keep them on a short leash. And by short leash, I mean tight. You know what I mean? Don't be surrounding yourself with no whack husbands. Well, you know, man, we've been knowing him since 8th grade. Is he a whack husband? All right, well, then we may need to keep him in the 8th grade then. That's all I'm saying about that. Love being married. I love being married. You know, people ask me, Damon, how 14 years, 17 years together? Husband life is amazing. I just gotta say that. Katoya ain't paid me to say that. I ain't getting paid to say that. Love being married. Love being married. Love being a husband. Never want to be not a husband. Let me be clear. Let me look directly into the camera. I never want to be not a husband. Whew. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with it. If you're not a husband and you're listening, if you're single, maybe you were a husband, not saying it. I'm talking about for me. I personally, Damon A. Sumner Jr., never want to be not a husband. I love it too much. I love it too much. Also, side note, if I could be honest, just if I'm 36 would want to get me out here in these streets on a dating app, that's a wrap. It's a wrap for Damon Sumner. You understand me? It's a wrap. So husbands, man, encourage you, like, you know, like enjoy it, maximize it, go hard with it. You know, if you're listening, you're not a husband, maybe, a woman, or just any human being out here who's not a husband, hey, we could use a little encouragement. You know what I'm saying? Big up a husband. Text a husband. DM a husband. Be like, hey, you doing it, big dog. You're killing it, fam. Keep going. Go hard. But that's it. That's it. Short and sweet out here. Mind of a husband. Hope there was some type of value. Hopefully, man, I ain't ramble too much and get no crazy email saying I said something dumb. But if I did, I did. I said it with my chest. As always, we appreciate y'all rocking with us so much. For real, for real. We mean that. Check us out. The conversation, the fun continues over on Instagram. Sum It Up Sumners. SUM. Sum It Up Sumners. I'll speak for Katoya. I'm Damon Sumner. This is the podcast. Sum It Up with the Sumners. Talk soon. One thing that makes this episode go, and especially this podcast in general, is beautiful briny seed. That's right. Our official sponsor of the podcast, Dry Artisan Goods, right here based in Atlanta, Georgia here. Our spice rack, our seasoning, even our sweets have leveled up in the last 2 years working with them. They're absolutely amazing. I know that you've got some classic things already in your pantry. I know you do. But we are asking you to support them so you can support us. This podcast keeps going because of their love and support, and we're asking for the same thing. It's a win-win. You get some more dope seasonings, we get some support, and it's all love. And right now, through the month of June, we got a special code going, Spice It Up Sumners. That's right, Spice It Up Sumners. That's the code. You get 20% off. Not 10. We ain't just talking taxes. We're talking real deal discount. Sum It Up Sumners all the way through June. Use the code to get 20% off. Check them out. Beautiful Briny C. Thanks for listening.